Hey everybody, and welcome back to Wildcard Wednesdays on Horror Film Lovers. I'm your host, Jonathan Moody, and wow, welcome to 2025, everybody. A year that I did not expect was going to be a year I wanted to make like very, very big. This year, I am planning some big, big things. And this isn't like because you saw my quick update on what's going on in the channel. This is more of my update about the year, not just about this month, not about 20, it's going to be about 2025 and sort of my predictions on the channel, as well as it's going to be my thoughts on what's going to happen in horror these days. So 2024 has passed and we have had the most amazing year for horror. I don't know if you agree with that or not, but I think we have. I think we've had movies like The Substance, Strange Darlings, Longlegs, Nosferatu. A lot of these movies are big, epic, but don't cost like 100 million, thousand, $100 million or whatever, or more. These are pretty easily obtained, sort of, not easily obtained. They still cost some money, but they're in the mid-level range, lower to mid-level range. And some of them are even low, like we had Terrifier 3, which blew the socks off of anything for its independentness. It would cost $2 million and it made over $50 million in the box office. It made more money its opening weekend than Joker 2 had at that time, which probably pissed off the studios a little bit. Some studios wanted Terrifier 3, and Terrifier 3 said, okay, we want to do this. The guys who produced Terrifier 3 said they want to do this, and they said, no, we're not going to let you do that. That's too much. And they said, fine, we're going to go make it ourselves, like we've been doing, and we're going to get it in theaters, and we're going to do better than you guys because you guys, studios, don't know shit about what you guys want. That's sort of what they're trying to say. I'm not saying that studios don't know. I think studios are sort of stuck. Horror films, on the other hand, have been doing really well recently. Abigail was really good. Maxine was really good. I mean, we had some really good ones this year. So what people have been doing is they've been putting a lot of effort and a lot of thought into the horror films, and I think that we're going to see a lot more of that this coming year. I feel like we're going to get announced all these different things. I know we got Saw 11 coming up, and we've got a bunch of other ones. Um, eh, my complaint is my big thing is we should see. I would hope that we see less PG-13 horror. Not saying PG-13 horror isn't good, and I don't think that there isn't a place for it. I do think there's a place for it. I think the people that make it have to not basically make what would have been an R-rated film and then turn it PG-13. What they need to do is make a really scary PG-13 movie, horror film. Like I'll take for example Insidious. Insidious is terrifying, but it's PG-13. I believe. I do believe that. Let me double check on that. I do not want to fuck that up. I think I've kept saying that. So if I'm completely wrong, which I don't think so, I think it is PG-13 and it says PG-13. So it's a PG-13 horror film made by the guys who did Saw. Like it is not, what you expect. So but then the Conjuring series was always R-rated. So we've had really good PG-13 horror. It's just the way that it's done, it's the people that's involved, it's all the hard work that goes into it. So my dog wants to come on the lap and join us. Come here. Come here. Come here. Ooh, yeah. He wanted to join us. Say hey to Rocky. Uh Rocky wants to bring in the new year and say hello to everybody. So he's gonna sit on my lap for a second. But yeah, so that's gonna be the plan, is that I think we're gonna see a lot less PG-13 horror and we're gonna see a lot more R-rated, like gore fests, like Terrifier, and beyond. And different stuff like that. Just things that are people are gonna go, oh my God, that is terrifying. We're gonna see a lot more R-rated gore fest. That I think is gonna happen. 2025 is just gonna be a busy, busy year. We've got lots going on. We got things in development right now for 2026 that, like Scream 7 and stuff. So we gotta wait for that. But I still think 2025 is gonna be busy. Um, the other thing is that we are gonna see a lot more movies this year than we did last year. Last year we didn't see a lot because there was a issue with like the strikes, that happened, the writer strikes and actor strikes and things like that. And now those are done for now. I think they're coming back in 2028 or something to renegotiate. And when that happens, who knows if they're gonna keep with that. But the problem was they couldn't get a lot of stuff out in 2024, so they had to push it to 2025. So we are going to see a lot more horror films, which will be great. We did have a lot. I think we had I didn't even count how many, but I guarantee we had over 50 horror films. Some were not so great. Like I wasn't a big fan of In a Violent Nature, which a lot of people were. A lot of people said that they enjoyed it in the theater, where it was like atmospheric and all this stuff. I would have hated it in the theater, probably more than I hated it on video. I didn't like it. I got bored by it. I felt like I don't want to see the day of the life of Jason, like I don't I want to see more I want to see more of I like the camper. I like the normal stuff. And I get it. It's a gimmick. It's a gimmick. And it did, it was kind of cool. Like, it was cool to see like a little gimmick like that. And I was excited for it, honestly, and I was just kind of let down. I was like, there was like I swear to God, like 5 minutes of us like just listening to somebody talk while we were inside the POV of inside the dirt that the killer was in. And I was just like, what the fuck am I watching? Like, why am I watching this? Like, let me not watch this anymore. And so I watched the whole thing just so I could rate it. I don't think I reviewed it. Um, but I did rate it. So, and I got to see Nosferatu, and that was great, but it had pacing issues for me too. I was still bored. I am of the ADHD variety, so I really do need movies to sort of and that's me. Like I'm not telling people like, "Oh my God, you're not going to like this," I definitely think a lot of people love the pacing of that movie. Some people didn't, and some people agreed with me. I was there a lot of pacing issues? I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, I really enjoyed the movie. I had a fun time, and I really, I'm happy with the way that horror is right now. Like I feel like we're at a very good place with horror. Um, there's a few times where people would be like, "Oh, horror's dead and it's never coming back and it's on life support and all this other shit." No, it's not. And it's never dead. Like there's just like some time that you might have to wait before something really big or crazy or whatever comes along. Right now, we don't have that time to wait. We see it every year. We see at least one project come out that people are like, "Oh my God, that just blew me away." This year we had a few, like The Substance and Strange Darlings were movies that people were blown away by. So I absolutely think that it's one of those crazy things where I'm happy for you know what has happened. But I would also love to start sort of seeing you know I would love to start seeing things change on stuff. Like I would love to see more like independent films independent horror films get releases. Like this year, we had Terrifier 3, but we also had Werewolves, by Stephen C. Miller, and we've had a few other people, other like independent films. I think even Longlegs was semi-independent, and that did very, I mean, I think it wasn't in the theaters as long as it should have been, and that's the sad thing. I think people should have saw that more than. I kind of wish I had seen it in the theater. Paul had sort of told me Asriel was in the theaters. Like we see all these indie movies, indie horror films in the theaters now. Like that's incredible. Like it didn't happen before, really. Independent films were not allowed, and I think it's because theaters kind of know that they're dying. They're a dying breed right now, and they need whatever they can get. And the studios, or especially in 2024, could not get them enough content, could not get them enough movies. So because of the strikes and stuff. So they had to rely on the independent films to sort of do that. And Terrified 3, I think, was going to get a release no matter what because it was a it was an indie flick that had like the first two had gone in theaters, or at least the second one had gone in the theaters. I remember that. I remember them making a big deal that like people were fainting in the from watching the movie or whatever, and I was like, man, are we back in like the Tingler days, like the William Castle stuff? Like, what is going on here? People had to be shipped out to the hospitals because they had heart attacks watching this movie, and I'm like, really? And I watched it. I like Terrifier 2, but I think Terrifier 1 was scarier, honestly. I and Terrifier 1 was scarier than part 3 as well. Part 3 was just fun. It's pure just insane fun. Is gore galore. And I feel like that needs to be a thing too. Like we need to definitely bring back gore movies. I feel like once again, PG-13 horror Blumhouse has sort of fucked that up, and they need to stop putting that out. They need to start seeing what the audience really wants. Audience doesn't want Afraid. I watched that movie and it was terrible. People want like Megan was so much better, and that wasn't Blumhouse. So like, Blumhouse had to figure out like, so I think that's how I view it. I feel like horror once again I keep harking back to it. So I feel like that's the thing that's gonna happen is that horror is gonna get less PG-13 and more R-rated, and people are going to want to see it. So I think that once Hollywood starts realizing these horror films are doing really well at R-rated, then they're going to start making adult dramas and adult comedies and adult war movies and all that stuff back again, westerns, all that stuff back again because adults are still going to see the theater. Like there's Gen X people are some people don't have kids, and so they're not planning to go to the theater because they're planning to go with kids. They're planning to go to the theater by themselves or with a friend or with a group of friends. And you can't count on that. So what you gotta do is you gotta make something that will be universally appealing to adults, while also doing movies that are universally appealing to kids. And even Paul said this in a Film Freaks episode that we just did, that you got to put the budget behind it. You got to put a good marketing budget behind um the R-rated movies because those are the ones that really need it. People are gonna go see a Marvel movie when they see a Marvel movie. Now, some people aren't going to see a Marvel movie now because they're tired of it. They have like a superhero fatigue. But there hasn't been a horror fatigue yet. There might have been a little bit of a Scream fatigue for a little bit. Like when as franchise kind of keeps going, like Saw took a break because I think they realized people are having kind of fatigue from having that every year. But I do miss having like things every year that you can count on. Um, I'm really excited for what the future holds for horror. I truly think that 2025 is going to be a busy year for horror. It's going to be a busy year, and people are going to absolutely put a lot of creativity and love into their franchises, into their standalones, into all their projects. Studios are going. A24 has been killing it. Maybe Warner Brothers and Universal and all of them will start really to lean into it. I'm not really looking forward to the Wolfman as much, but I will see it. Um, my expectations are low based on the trailers. Uh, we'll see. Um, I love Lee Winnell, so I think he's a great writer, and I even loved The Invisible Man. I had a poster for that for a little bit, and then it got ripped. So I really love that. I love that movie. I love that guy, Lee Winnell. So I think I will, I'll be excited for it. I don't know. I think it's one of those things where I, I think it'll be, I think it'll be an okay movie. That's what I think. I don't think it'll rise above anything more. And I think it's just because I think we as a society are kind of tired of like the normal werewolf stuff. When you bring it back to the traditional tropes of the werewolf stuff, people are tired of it because they've seen it so many times. And I think what needs to be done is it needs to have like not be Wolfman, but be uh something else, that will terrify people or at least make them, whatever. So I'm still interested in seeing it and I'll see it when it comes out, but it's not something I'm like so super excited. I probably will watch it like opening day because I know people will be spoiling the hell out of it on fucking Facebook. If you do that, you're a jerk. Honestly, especially the same weekend. Just wait at least another weekend. That's why I'm doing a review of Nosferatu today. That's going up on that's going up on Friday. And I've decided to wait till Friday to do it because it's fucking, you got to give it a little bit of time, you know. You can't just do it. So, anywho, hope you guys enjoyed this little Wildcard Wednesdays, which is back. We are back and better than ever. I am super excited. I think that Wildcard Wednesdays is going to be a fun thing that I don't know we're going to do it twice. I think we're going to do it twice a month, and it's going to be the first and third. I think that's what I've got scheduled as, right? If not, I will do more episodes, but um I think right now, yeah, so Wildcard Wednesdays on the first, third, and well this time fifth Wednesday, because there's apparently 5 Wednesdays in this month. So there'll be three Wildcard Wednesdays this month, but generally speaking, it's gonna be the first and the third, and not so you'll get also two, I guess, in a week from each other back to back because in February. So for February. So anyway, it's gonna be a really fun time. I'm gonna come up with some topics, some different things that I'd like to discuss. Today it's about my thoughts on 2025, my predictions on 2025 and where horror is gonna go. And I think that to me is very important to like think about because when you start seeing this stuff, you're gonna be like, oh shit, is that really like how it is now? Like I'm doing research and stuff. I look at all these things and I look at all these movies that are out, and so many are independent, that got out there, and people are just don't want to stop talking about it. So I love that. So anywho, hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will talk to you later. Bye.